Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives season 14 review. It may not seem like it because I kind of cheated a little bit and did a whole bunch of pre-recording, but it has been a week since I've actually recorded anything. So bear with me if I'm a little rusty. For those of you who are sending well wishes to me as I was out with an unexpected family emergency, I appreciate it. It means more than you all know. I may discuss what happened. I don't know if I'm ready to right now, but when I am, I definitely will. So let's go ahead and get into the lighter things, which is this episode. Go ahead, do me a favor, hit the like button as we begin. So it's Christmas Eve and the family is at Mary's house because, as we've been told, this is a family tradition for a lot of years where the kids come over or the kids hang out in Mary's section and they get to have their pajamas. So Christine and Janelle are talking about how during the holidays with the older kids coming back, they're realizing just how small their rental homes are. Cody uses this as an opportunity to remind us that they're pointing out these smaller homes, and he's seeing this as one of the reasons why they should think about having a bigger home, much like the one big home that he suggested. His favorite wife, Robin, changes the subject. We left off with videos presentation being done by Cody of his dream home. Remember, in his dream home, everyone would live in this one huge house where they won't have any autonomy, according to the wives, and where he'll be happy because he doesn't have to worry about driving from house to house, much like he has to now when this is really all his fault. Cody arrives at Mary's and he makes a grand entrance because he's wearing a gorilla sweater while holding large tubes that we know as an audience contains the blueprints to the home. As the older kids chant as he walks in, "Dad, Dad, Dad," which has to make Cody's day because everything that Cody does is very much so about his ego. I was reading one of the comments earlier for a previous review that I did and responding to them. And there's one that I'm going to have to turn into a say what because it's so spot on and we're given so much from that comment that I just feel like it's been a while since I've done a say what just on your comments. And we definitely need to do one because you all, my YouTube fam, of course, are seeing the foolishness and you're pointing out things that I myself missed, which is one of the reasons why I like this, because we both say things and there are things that sometimes I forget and you all remind me, and I appreciate that. But let's continue. So Mary says that she didn't know that this was Ugly Sweater Day, and I don't think that he meant it to be an ugly sweater. Mary's like, I didn't know it was Ugly Sweater Day. Sorry. Because I really don't I think he knew what he did. He wanted to get attention by wearing it, but he didn't think that it would be deemed as an ugly sweater. So he tells us that, he's a polygamist in a monogamous world. So he's basically the 400-pound gorilla in the room. And all the wives are looking at him like, what? What? He's such a silly little man because what he meant was he's the pink elephant. But it gets completely lost because he doesn't say it correctly and because there's not an elephant on his shirt. There's a gorilla on his shirt. He tells us having everyone home at the same time right now is an adjustment for him, but it's nostalgic. I don't understand why this should be an adjustment if this is something that previously you all did for years, especially because even though you have the additions of some husbands, it was said that you have 3 children that are missing. So what's the big deal about having this large of a family when it's something that you should be used to? The bird lets us know that she loves Christmas, but growing up, Christmas time was very different for her. her. And yet she's supposed to know oh so much about polygamy. She tells us that in their home, they did not join together as a family the way that the Browns do for holidays. That, you know, there were Christmases where her father wouldn't be at the home. So she didn't get to see him for Christmas. There were times where they would celebrate Christmas around New Year's because that's how long he would be gone. Because as we've said before, Robin's father had wives in different states. It wasn't just in different homes. They were really spread out. This is why I feel like the bird doesn't see sometimes that how Cody maneuvers with his family is wrong, because she experienced having her father for long periods at a time, and it wasn't a big deal to her that she's now carried this over with her to the Brown family. Cody thinks that out of all of the kids that they have, that Caleb would move to Flagstaff because of the terrain, because there's a whole bunch of hunting that he can do, and he loves hunting elk. And I hear him saying that, and I was like, out of all the kids you have, you think that Caleb will want to, but Caleb isn't your kid. His wife is your kid. So you're hoping maybe that Caleb would influence Maddie to want to move there. Christine says that Asman drops hints here and there, but the reality of it is that, and she doesn't complete her thought, it gets cut off. After dinner, they go into the living room to open up their Christmas pajamas. We're reminded that Mary used to make all of the pajamas for the kids, but now because of the amount of children that there are and because of time, she just buys them. They take a bunch of photos. Christine says it took like 30 and none of them are good, but they seem to actually be enjoying it and having fun. And as they're doing all of this and the night is wrapping up, Cody decides that he's going to completely take away Christine's joy. So he announces that he brought along the drawings for the house. Christine says cool, but it's really not cool to Christine. Christine is keeping sweet. Christine is trying to make sure that she doesn't really show how she's feeling, because if she does, that will be a problem. So he announces that he brought the drawings while Christine is talking about making sure that all the kids help clean up Mary's house before they leave. So while the wives and some of the kids are cleaning up the kitchen, Cody comes in yet again, even though he knows that they're cleaning up the kitchen, to tell them that he has the drawings. They already heard you the first time. You need to come back and say it. Allow them to clean up Mary's home before you make another announcement, because you're trying to show them what you have going on when there's things that need to be done. Like, instead of pulling out a drawing and showing it, you should be helping to clean up too. But Cody doesn't know how to do that. So his wives look like they're over it, all of them except one. He says the party is over now, so he thinks that it's time to show the drawings. After all, he does what he wants to do, really. So he goes to the table, pulls them out. Janelle walks over to look. Robin, in a voiceover, says that they're pulling out blueprints that I didn't even know that he had. I want to know where he hid them all this time, because the bird seems to be really bothered that she didn't know that he had them. And I actually believe her when she said she didn't know that he had the blueprints, because it didn't seem like there was acting there. That statement from her felt really genuine. She says she doesn't even want to go there right now with Cody by looking at these blueprints. And she just doesn't want to go that route. Christine doesn't either. Christine doesn't even want to talk about it. Robin says this whole situation is just a bomb that's waiting to go off, and that someone is going to say no and Cody is going to get mad. So if I disengage, then they can't have the conversation. And Robin in that moment nailed it. She didn't want the one house either, but she never deliberately came out and said it then. She made sure that the blame would remain off of her by not saying it. Cody fails to get most of the family to look at the blueprints. From what I see, I saw Caleb, Janelle, Peyton, and Solomon, who does, he doesn't really count, and Gabe. Eventually, Hunter came over there too. They're the only ones that we saw looking at it. Christine says that she told the bird that she'll have an open mind and talk to him about it later. Right now, she just wants to focus on the holidays. Production calls her out on it, though, and says, are you really having an open mind? And she says, okay, I may not have one today or tomorrow or the day after that either. Christine wants no part of this. She doesn't have an open mind. She already shut it down. And you can't blame her because she told him multiple times that she does not want to be in one house ever again. The goal for them was to create what they had in Vegas, in the cul-de-sac, here in Coyote Pass, with actual seasons. That's basically what the goal was. Aurora thinks that the one house is a good idea. She thinks like her mother. Isabel, however, thinks that it's a recipe for drama. She says that, their family is naturally loud and Robin's kids are night owls, whereas Christine's kids like to go to bed early. This gets a look from Aurora. I'm sure she went back and told her mother this because she looked like, but the truth is the truth. Robin then lets us know yet again that she met the family in one house and she loved the idea of it. I don't believe her though, because in the book, she tells us that Janelle had offered when they got married for her kids to have a section in her home. She declined it though because she wanted her own space for herself and for her kids. I'm not knocking her for doing that. I feel like that's honest, but don't come here and try to make it seem like it's just the other wives that don't want this when you don't want it either. So she spent her courtship, according to the bird, in this house getting to know them. And she saw how beautiful things were with them and how great they operated as a family. And she, as a result, had a testimony and wanted this experience for her kids. She says she had options of being a monogamous, but it's not what she wanted. She did not have monogamous options. She said in the book that they wrote, that one guy, because Cody likes to tell us all these guys were interested. She said another guy that was a part of the church was interested in her. Now, all of a sudden, it's gone from a guy in the book to guys on the TV screen to monogamous guys now in this season. What is it? Because every time you tell the story, there's an added layer onto it. Girl, please, we don't believe you. She says she really wanted this and she thought the one house was a good idea. But over the years, she's heard all these stories from her sister wives. And now as a result, they have her second guessing it. I don't buy it. I personally feel like it's another excuse. Janelle is so excited about this one move where everybody else isn't. Janelle says one of the things that she's looking forward to most is just the community. She loved the community aspect of it. And I believe Janelle in that. I feel like Janelle really and truly is still very much so in belief of polygamy. I feel like she does, because even now she still has not said she's divorced from Cody. She said she's separated. Now in this season, with everything that's transpired, will that be different? Maybe. But as of where it stood the last time we saw her on TLC, she said that she was separated, which shows how much she at one point wanted this. Mary is quiet and trying to, see everyone else's opinion. She says that she's being quiet because she can, see what everybody else feels without saying what she felt. And as she said, I'm like, she's such a game player. Why is everything always, let me see this, let me see that, whatever. But it kind of makes sense later on. She tells us that she has a strong opinion, but she knows that if her opinion is different from the other women, it doesn't even really matter what she thinks. And she's telling the truth here, because we've seen time and time again where Mary was overruled, even with the whole thing on Coyote Pass versus Cottonwood. She got outnumbered and they ended up going with Coyote Pass. And rather than it just being a thing where, okay, majority ruled, they kept on trying to make Mary jump on board for what they wanted when it really was never anything that Mary desired. She was the one that didn't want it, and the sister wives kept hounding her. So she's right. Her opinion kind of doesn't matter. If those other three state how they feel, what is Mary going to be? The tiebreaker? That's the only reason why Cody would care about what she has to say. Janelle feels like, you know, as she's looking at the blueprints, how great this is. But she's like, it just feels like a pipe dream, because I just want people to get past, you know, the things that we experienced in the past. I understand that us living together was difficult, but we have to realize that this is something different. How are you telling people like, example, Christine, to get over the past when here you are years later still struggling to get over some of the past things that have happened with you and Mary? I love Janelle, but don't use this situation as a convenience. Don't say what other people should get over when you haven't gotten over it yourself. She says that Christine was at the bottom level of the home. So Christine would hear things that maybe others didn't. She would hear people walking around, and she would hear people talking, and she would hear people laughing. And that left her no room for privacy or autonomy. But this new home has it. And she just wants everybody to be open-minded about that. Hunter eventually walks over, looks at the blueprint very quickly, says that's pretty dang cool, and then he walks away. I don't know if he only stayed there for that moment in time because he understood that this is something that probably wouldn't happen, or if it was because he wasn't really that interested. Oh yeah, it's cool, let me keep moving. Christine talks about how much she come to love having her own home, because her being in charge of her household made her feel great. It made sense for them to live together back then, and even for them to live together now, because they are one family. But living together like that takes away their intimacy. She says, I can't be who I want to be with my husband because of my other sister wives. We can't be affectionate with one another. We can't be free where all the other wives are around. And we see flashbacks of like her bent over and Cody smacking on her on her butt, or them, you know, not cuddled up, because we didn't really see a whole bunch of that. Them embrace, we'll say. And she said she couldn't do that before. I understand how that could be a problem for her, but I feel like Cody didn't want the intimacy. Anyway, so it's the next morning. The family is now at Robin's house to celebrate Christmas. Cody lets us know that his woman really likes her decorations. He really enjoyed telling us that that was his woman, by the way. So he tells us, you know, she likes the multiple angels and the fairies and the gingerbread houses and the nativity scene. I don't see any cohesiveness here. I personally enjoy Christmas a lot. It's one of my favorite holidays. As you all saw the other day, I still have a tree in my room. A lot of you all joked me about that. But for the last several years, the reason why I have the tree up in my room is because it's a reminder of my friend that passed from sickle cell. He was 35 years old and he passed from sickle cell right before Christmas, and Christmas was his favorite holiday. He's the person who started having me put trees in all of the bedrooms as well as in the living room, even though I already decorated other areas. And I just, one year, well, not 1 year, the year after he passed, I had the tree up in my room and I just kept looking at it and I was like, I can't take it down. It's just, it didn't feel right taking it down. So for the past 3 Christmases, the tree remains up. And then when I change out all the Christmas decor decorations, then the tree that's in my room, I change everything off the tree to whatever my theme color is going to be that year in the room. Don't judge me. I know it seems weird. And I was going to put it in the comment section because a few of you said something. And I was like, no, I'll just explain it on camera. Yeah. So that's why I have the tree. It's in remembrance of my friend. I say all that to say, Robin has up her decorations, but some of them will look a little tacky to me. I'm sorry. I just got to call it the way I see it. I'm an ornament hoarder. I have multiple colors. It's a problem. I go all the time to at home. And what is it? Oh, I can't think of it right now. Orange sign, orange lettering. It's going to drive me nuts. I go there too. If I remember, I'll put it in the comment section. But they always end up having like 50% off their ornaments and stuff. Why wouldn't I go there? I mean, you can never have enough as far as I'm concerned. So I see her decorations and I'm like, okay, they look a little tacky, but whatever. We find out that Dayton got Cody a megaphone. So he takes the time to thank everyone while talking through his megaphone for being there and for being born. Hunter thanks his parents for conceiving him. And Cody says, that was a fun night. Christine says, okay, Janelle is sitting here blushing, but it's okay because we all are. Cody adds, I didn't even have a ponytail then. This is coming from the same man who tells us how awkward it is to kiss Janelle. So some of this seems a little rehearsed to me, a little acting, not on Hunter's part, on Cody's part. I don't know, but I just don't see it with them. Over the past several days, I've spent a lot of time with my family. I watch my father and my bonus mom, and there is so much love between the two of them that is something that you can see without them even embracing one another. And of course, they were embraced and they were cuddled up as those who love one another do. But it just was something that was so natural. Like I saw my father looking for her in a room as well as looking for us. But I saw him being attentive to her and I saw her being attentive to him. And I just love the way that they show up for one another. And to me, that is what a marriage is supposed to be. It's supposed to be these two people who have come together that love one another so much that they have decided that they want to spend the rest of their lives together. And yes, sometimes that doesn't happen, but there are instances where it does and where there are successful marriages. And a lot of that is because the people have not only put in work, but they've been okay with putting their feelings to the side sometimes to meet in the middle with their partner. And I don't see that with Cody. We very rarely see Cody being loving with his wives. I understand that because of polygamy that you can't do certain things, and with you all being on the show, maybe it's harder for him to be as affectionate as he would like to be. But I also feel like Cody tends to look like he's tolerating them. He doesn't really look like he likes them or loves them. So Cody and the wives are laughing about this whole ponytail thing. A producer asks them to explain the ponytail joke, and Robin says that you hear Janelle purr whenever Cody's hair is in a ponytail. Purr. That's what I get. Purr? Really? Why are they always being compared to animals? Robin says Janelle purrs. Cody says the wives pant. What's up with that? I mean, I do compare them to animals too. The bird and the bald eagle. So maybe I'm no better. Robin says, when I first came into the family, I heard about how much of a Grinch Cody was when it came to Christmas. Christine says that he wanted us to call it quits for a few years when it came to Christmas. I don't think that it was him being a Grinch. I think that they didn't have the money. Let's be clear. Christmas is a stressful time for a lot of adults and a lot of parents. It stresses me out, and I only have one kid. Now, of course, I have nieces and a nephew, but my point is I have one child, and the thought of Christmas is stressful. It stresses me out. And here you have Cody with multiple, and I would think that it would stress him out too. Cody tells us that one of the reasons why he wanted to do that is it comes into play with him being a child and how Christmas was for them because of his dad, and that he had to kind of like force himself to grow out of that. But I don't particularly buy that, because you decide what you want to do. Gifts weren't a big thing in my household when it came to my mom. A lot of times for Christmas time, my father was deployed. So my grandmother, his mom, made sure that she always had gifts for us. She spoiled the mess out of us Christmas time. She always went big. And I have over the years have really, really come to appreciate what his side of the family did for me when it came to Christmas. So we see gifts being given out. Cody says no matter what type of Christmas that they have, whether it's abundant or not, that they're going to find joy. And I really feel like that is what Christmas is supposed to be like. There are times where I've told my son, look, send me your list. Understand that if you have 5 pairs of shoes on that list, Mom may only be getting you 2 for Christmas or 3 for Christmas, and I'll get, some other things off of the list. I'm very honest and open about that stuff, because I'm not going to go into debt for Christmas. I'm just not going to do it. It's not worth it to me. And really, it is supposed to be about the love. Crazy how that has changed, though, in his family. We see Axel open a gift that says, I'm going to be a big brother. The family gets excited. You see Cody embrace them. Christina's crying. Cody says, I'm surprised and I'm grateful because Axel makes me feel like I can stop having kids. First of all, I got irritated by what he said, because the announcement isn't about Cody, yet he always finds some way to make it about him. Second of all, what does Maddie having a baby or not having a baby have to do with him stopping to have kids? If you don't want to have any more kids, don't have any more kids. But Robin at times wants more children. So have that discussion with her. This is the second time that you've brought up the kid thing. Well, actually the third, because Robin brought it up too. I'm over it. We hear again how it's been 30 years of him looking forward to fatherhood. I don't think he was looking forward to fatherhood because he actually wanted to be a father. I think that Cody thought that fatherhood would allow him to feel like there were a whole bunch of little beings that adored him, and he could mold them into whatever shape that he wanted them to be in. But apparently he dropped the ball and they didn't do what it was that, he dreamed that they would do. I don't really feel like he dropped the ball. I feel like it is our job not to mold our children. We can teach them certain things, but it's important that they are allowed to be who it is that they want to be. And I feel like they stopped wanting to be the ones that adored Cody, and they started living lives of their own. And that became a problem for him. Period. So the thought of him stopping makes him sad. They sit down for dinner. Cody says, I love you all, and I'm glad that you're all in my life and that you're all my family. Cut to what, 2020, when all of that seems to go out the window. So they sit down and they eat. We find out it's a few days later, Cody and the wives get together at Mary's to talk about the Las Vegas homes. Janelle says they still aren't selling. Janelle tells the sister wives that there hasn't been a lot of traffic after 6 months. But no, there's been some traffic, not a lot. After 6 months. Understand that it has been 6 months and only 2 homes are on the market. What is going on with Mary and Robin that after 6 months their houses aren't on the market yet? So she says there hasn't been a lot of offers on the 2 houses that we have on the market, which are mine and Christine's. I suggest that we drop both listings by $40,000. One thing that I've learned when I attempted to buy a home, when I started the process and I backed out, is that the price of homes matter, especially the ones in your surrounding areas. Now, yes, there are lots of other things that come into play. But in this situation where all these homes were purchased around the same time, built the same year, have a lot of the same features, and are at this this cul-de-sac dead end, if somebody does something to their home, it will affect the other homes. It will change up the prices around you. Some people will not be willing to offer what you want on this if this one has only been up here for 5 minutes and it sold. Like, there's a lot of things that come into play. So Christine's home has been on the market for 6 months. And at this point, it not being sold makes it seem like something's wrong with the home. Christine is mad about the way that Janelle decided to break the news to her that the price needs to drop. And she feels like it should have been done in private before the rest of the family knew. I agree. I feel like it should have been done in a separate conversation first. So at least Christine didn't feel like she was being blindsided, especially because at this point, Christine and Janelle are supposed to be close. Christine says, if I had a broker that wasn't a part of our family, this conversation would have been with myself and the broker, because that's the way that it goes. But with our lives being so intertwined and with Janelle being a member of the family, she's now having this conversation that I don't want to have in front of everyone, Both Christine and Janelle are tired of the double payments. And Robin is like, what you all do with your houses is going to affect what I list my house for, because as I said, it's been 6 months and her house is still not on the market. So instead of starting at $40,000, she's like, Robin says, can we drop it to maybe like 10,000 or by 20,000 and see what happens from there? And Cody's like, no, we need to just cut this loss. She's saying 40,000. We need to go ahead and move into the 40,000. And Robin says, this is a conversation about what we need to do as a team. I'm noticing right off the bat that, that's not what this feels like. We're going to be using the money that we get from the sale of these homes to build on Coyote Pass. Even if they did, I still don't think that would have been enough to build on Coyote Pass, because let's remember, they've already said that Coyote Pass is significantly more. They've already said that Flagstaff is a lot more expensive. Christine's home was what, $500,000? And significantly smaller than what she had in Vegas. So at no point was any of this realistic. So why are we sitting here and acting now like we're so confused as to why this is a problem? As to how you probably aren't going to have enough money. She says, why are we talking about this like we're separate? We pay our mortgages, each one of us, out of our family budget. That is, this is our home. So we're going to use the money collectively from the sale of our homes to take care of Coyote Pass. So for her, it's weird that it's like, oh, well, this is what I want to do because we need to make this decision together as a team, not as a one-on-one thing. Did they make a decision together as a team when Mary and Janelle contributed to the down payment on her $1 million home? Because Robin likes to talk like she contributed so much to this family pot, but she didn't have enough in her pot to buy her own home. She needed the help of the other ladies. So I'm not trying to hear what Robin is saying right then and there. Janelle isn't feeling it. Mary seems skeptical about Janelle's approach. She wants to know what she's been doing to get the houses sold and to get people to come and view the homes. And Janelle doesn't answer that question. Mary says, I'm not a realtor. I would not know what to do to get people through the door and looking at my house, except to say that it's an amazing house and it has this fabulous wet bar. All of that stuff to get this wet bar built, and she didn't even really get to really enjoy it because half of the time the family didn't want to be around her. Then another half of the time she was MIA because of the catfish, and now here you are in another state not getting to use your wet bar. Janelle says she's going to continue hosting open houses with hopes that the houses sell before the family has trouble financially. that even though they'll be dropping the cost, that the family will still be okay because money isn't being paid, to someone else, is getting paid to Janelle. That when you have an income separate from the family in real estate, you can't put it in the family pot. Instead, what you do is she'll use the commission that she made from the sale to pay her bills. I don't understand how, if Janelle is just in real estate alone, how she's able to save money, because she's saying that with those funds, she's not allowed to divvy it out the way that she normally would. So your additional funds is kind of like you're being penalized, and you can't just keep those funds as well as your family money. Instead, you won't hit the family money for a couple months. That doesn't seem fair to me. Maybe I missed it. Y'all explain it for me down below. I feel like she's cheating herself. Cody says he's been waiting for Janelle to make the price cut announcement for 2 months now. And Robin is bothered. Robin gets an attitude, and she finds this odd considering that Cody told the sister wives that the move to Flagstaff would be a good financial move for the family. She must have not been listening, because before they made the move, all of us that watched this show, even Mary, pointed out that this isn't going to be beneficial, that they're going to be spending more to live there. She even said it to Christine before they left. The Bird says, this is so counter to what you have sat there and said when you sat there and suggested the whole thing to us. Back in Vegas, when Cody first presented the idea of moving, his big selling point was all the equity in the houses and stuff, and how it could set them up for the next place. Now he's saying we got to drop the prices, but he hasn't been saying this. He's been telling me that Janelle's been saying that. Which is yet another example of how Cody pins these women against each other, because Janelle says he's been on me about doing this for a long time. So he's telling her that Janelle is on him. Meanwhile, Janelle's saying in front of all of them that he's been on her. So he rather have made it look like this was something that Janelle was pushing him to do, rather than admitting that he wanted it to be done too. He's a coward. Robin is mad because that's not what he told her 9 months ago, and that he pushed the idea so hard for them. And she tells him, like, look, you got to slow down because you keep flip-flopping. Hold on, boo-boo. Wait, Robin, wait. Are you experiencing a part of Cody that the other wives constantly experience? Are you seeking what feels like, this is what I get for trying to be an a-hole. I can't even read what I'm writing. Okay. Are you seeing what it feels like to have him say one thing one moment in your face, and then have him say another thing in another moment behind your back to another one of the wives? Are you tired of the Cody coaster? Welcome to the world of these 3 other women that have had to deal with this man for the past 20 years, and who they've seen him flip-flop on them time and time again. Are we saying that Cody Brown, the bald eagle himself, made a poor financial decision, and then he lied to cover up his own stupidity by acting like, oh, it's just because of the market, when what it was it never was smart for them to make this move in the first place? Oh. Cody says, do you like where you're living? Because we could have stayed in Vegas, and all the finger pointing that is coming at me because I said the market was good then. Robin stops him and says, I'm not pointing a finger at you. I just need you to slow down with the whiplash. She was pointing a finger at him, but she saw his reaction, and she saw he felt like he was being attacked. And we were about to see a side of Robin that Robin tries to suppress and doesn't let us see. And she turns her anger down. Janelle asks him if he's mad. He says no. Robin is like, okay, they're basically done with the conversation. So she gets up. She can't get out there fast enough. She can't put on her shoes fast enough to get out that house. She let us know that this isn't how a plural family should operate, that it wasn't one person money that bought them those homes in Vegas, that they worked together. You did not work together. TLC bought those homes. Call it like it is. If TLC did not pick you all up as a family, then those homes would have never been purchased. Y'all like to act like TLC didn't help provide for you, but TLC is what created the life that you were able to have by moving your children to Vegas and securing a better future for them. Robin, Christine, and Janelle leave Mary's house. We get a sign that says that, the cameras were down. Cody told them to stay up because he wants to have a conversation with Mary. Mary has made sure that she hasn't said too much during this whole discussion because she knows whatever she may say will be held against her in the court of Cody's law. Cody talks to Mary about his nervousness and about, their former home in Lehigh and how, he's like, you remember how we rented it out? And Mary explains that because the house was built for polygamists, that they ended up losing a lot of money when they finally decided to sell it because it took so long. Cody says if the Las Vegas homes don't sell soon, the family will have to move back. Mary doesn't understand why he's telling her this, and I feel like he's telling Mary this because he knows that Mary is so desperate to be back in his good graces that Mary will show him a little bit of sympathy that the other wives aren't going to show him. He says that he's just trying to get, this feeling off of his chest by expressing it to her. He feels like someone needs to buy it and buy it fast. And she, feels like he's doing some of this out of fear. He says, the sky is falling, Mary. The market is severely adjusted. And if we don't get out fast, we'll get caught. Mary says, I'm really concerned that he's going to look like an idiot. It's too late. He started looking like an idiot at around, season 2. Mary says she doesn't like when he goes down this rabbit hole. He feels like he's run out of time. He says, I'm telling you this because I feel like you're not going to freak out because I know you weren't that in love with the idea of moving to Flagstaff in the first place. Mary doesn't like that that's the reason why he's telling her. And she says, I moved here. Once again, just showing how he doesn't take her feelings into consideration either. He feels like they put it off for too long, that the only thing that could have been done differently is that the family would have moved to St. George last spring. He reveals that he, found homes for the wives, and that's where he was planning to move when he made that presentation. Cody says, I don't blame the wives. I blame the damn legislature in Utah. Blame yourself because you still could have moved there. His wives are afraid, though, because they don't feel safe. And I don't feel like Cody's safe. Mary says she's going to talk to Janelle and she would like for him to be there. He feels like there's no point in them being there. They're going to contradict each other. Mary's like, they have the same brain when it comes to finances. So she doesn't understand why this would be a contradiction. So Mary is trying to tell us basically, I guess, that Janelle isn't as responsible with finances as we thought, because if they have the same brain when it comes to finances, that might explain why Janelle's been put in such a pickle with this whole Coyote Pass situation. She says, I play a different game all the time. I feel like we're in different places. So she's gonna, want to hold on. Oh, no, this is Cody. He says, he says, Robin and I play a different game all the time when we're at different places. Robin's going to want to hold on and I'm going to want to go ahead and get rid of the property. We're here and I want to move so that we can stay here. He says he's handling this immaturely because he's lacking the faith that his Father in heaven has given him, and that he feels like, his Father in heaven has carried him through so many things, but for some reason it's just not working here. I hate when people use faith as a means to mask their stupidity. God wants you to operate in faith, yes, but he wants you to take the necessary steps as well. I can't say I want a home and I haven't been saving for the down payment on the home. I can have good credit, but if I don't have that down payment, guess what? More than likely, I'm not going to get that home. And Cody hasn't done what he needs to do to make sure that he sells those homes. They've gambled because things haven't adjusted as quickly as he thought they would, and they're struggling. That's what happens when you decide to just up and move out of nowhere. And it's not like you're moving down the block. You move to a completely different state, several hours away. You all, sorry this was so all over the place. Ivan was reading some of my notes while I was doing it. Like, what the hey-ho am I talking about? But I appreciate your time. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like the video if you have not done so already. If you've watched me several times and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps me get in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much. Until next time.